What is up, heroes? This is Midnight Zero, and welcome back to another UCL video. And this week we are preparing for our Week 4 battle against the Portland Politoeds. And I've got to say, there have been some threats in the previous week, but by far, this week will be the most difficult. Not only because of this guy's team composition, also his name is Solo, so I might be referring to him as Solo, but also Solo, from what I hear, is a good battler and has been doing well so far. And he's got some monster threats on his team. So, to start, looking at his team, Mega Scizor, easily one of the best counters to Mega Altaria, which is kind of like my bread and butter when it comes to this, or at least like a go-to powerhouse of Pokemon on my team. Azumarill also does really well against Mega Altaria. Hoopa Unbound, Scarf, typically they can run Drain Punch, Gunk Shot, Dark Pulse, Psychic, really just offensive threats that I have difficulty outspeeding and even killing. Because of my lack of strong electric types that can take down these hits. Also, his Mega Scizor has, I think, 6 or 7 kills in the league so far, and his Azumarill has 7 or so too, I think. So these are Pokemon that he loves to use. He's brought Belly Drum a couple times. I've actually got some notes on sets he's brought in the past, because I looked at his replays from earlier games. And yeah, those 3 Pokemon alone, big threats. Although he hasn't brought Hoopa yet, but I suspect he might, because it does pretty well against my team, especially with, Jirachi and Dark type, etc. Anyways, also, Galvantula, Sticky Web. I tried so hard to come up with a solution to the Sticky Web problem, and I'll explain it when I get there, because it is really difficult for my team to deal with Sticky Web. It's also really difficult for his team to deal with Sticky Web, so we'll touch on that later, because that's part of the solution. As far as Whimsicott goes, I'm not too worried about it, but it could just be so annoying. I would absolutely hate if he brought this Pokemon. I do have some countermeasures for it, but especially if it's like a Leech Seed, Substitute, Stun Spore sort of set, it's going to drive me up a wall. It might actually beat me, which would be obviously less than optimal. Then, Chandelure. He loves to bring Scarf Chandelure, and Chandelure is a powerhouse, so I need some serious bulk and some mons that can take this thing out pretty quickly. Scrafty. He's brought Bulk Up Scrafty in the past. It's kind of, well, it is a bulky mon, and it can do some damage, but it's slow enough to the point where I can usually beat it out with some of my other Pokemon. Sigilyph, I haven't seen it yet, or haven't seen him use it yet. It can be interesting. I have enough Pokemon that outspeeding can do enough damage to take care of it, I think. As far as Tangrowth goes, I'm really not sure if he's going to bring it or not. We'll see. I have a lot of Pokemon equipped to deal with it. Credilli could be annoying for Suicune because of its ability Storm Drain, but beyond that, it's not going to be too big a deal. Also, in the past, he's brought Credilli as his Stealth Rocker, which is, I guess, worth noting. And with regards to hazards, he's got Galvantula for Sticky Web, he's got potentially Aurorus for Stealth Rock, and he's also got, sorry, I'm blanking, Credilli, I just mentioned it, for Stealth Rock. And as far as getting rid of hazards, though, he's got Mega Scizor that learns Defog, and Swellow that learns Defog, and then Wartortle that can learn Rapid Spin. But beyond that, he's got no hazard control. So I need to be very careful with that during this matchup. Swellow, I don't think he'll bring it, but it could be a powerhouse. It's very fast, although I have Pokemon that can outspeed it. Aurorus and Regice, 2 ice Pokemon powerhouses that if they, get a Rock Polish up, or set up accordingly, they can take down a lot of my team. And he might bring one just as a threat to Mega Altaria, just to bring down Mega Altaria. Wartortle is really bulky, and as I mentioned before, a type of hazard control. Fracture is generally bulky, typically runs a Violite and Dragon Dance set, and can be a threat, but I don't think he'll bring it. Anyway, so, finally getting into the Pokemon that I brought. First of all, how to deal with Mega Scizor. We're going to start off by looking at my Heatran, Kosaka Honoka, and I have Stealth Rock on this thing. I originally was running Fire Blast in an offensive Scarf set, but after looking at which Pokemon I'd be outspeeding, or wanting to be outspeeding, I have other Pokemon that can deal with them, and I'd rather have the variability, because this thing can deal with Chandelure. I think it takes 37 to 44% from a Shadow Ball from Scarf Chandelure, so it's only a 3-hit KO after Leftovers recovery. And I can OHKO him with Earth Power. You'll notice my special attack, my investment. I have speed so that I'm fast enough for Scizor, but nothing more. So then I invested the rest in special attack, so that I OHKO Scizor with the Lava Plume. I OHKO Chandelure after Stealth Rock with Earth Power, and I OHKO Whimsicott with Lava Plume. And I think those are the only really relevant calculations I made for this Flash Cannon does, I think, 40 to 50% to Azumarill, which is helpful if he tries to Belly Drum, which is by far his favorite set thus far. And the rest is to go into HP so that I can tank hits and fire back accordingly. Same goes for Leftovers. So yeah, this Pokemon will be incredibly helpful. Also, you're going to notice I'm really going for burns. His biggest threats are his physical attackers. So by spreading burns to wear down damage over time, and to weaken those physical attackers could potentially set up for a Suicune sweep later. So you'll notice I'm intentionally going for burns. I'm saying that now so that, you know, I don't get called out for like hacks and trying to go for hacks the whole time. Like, it is part of my strategy to try and get burns and optimize for that. So second of all, we got Yasuo Nico, my Jirachi. I'm running Scarf Jirachi because this is one of the very few counters I have to his Hoopa. I have a lot of attack investment, and that's pretty much so that I can do a ton of damage with Fire Punch more so than anything else, and I can get a couple turn a couple 3-hit KOs into 2-hit KOs with Iron Head on Pokemon like Whimsicott or Azumarill, and basically just to lower the total number of flinches I might need if necessary. Fire Punch also, if I predict correctly, I can help spread burns because that has a 20% chance of burning any Pokemon that switches in on it, and Iron Head for typical Jirachi stuff. U-turn to take down Hoopa and to give me momentum. Momentum will be really helpful in this battle because forcing switches after I get Stealth Rock up is going to be huge because a lot of his team is weak to Stealth Rock, and I rely on Stealth Rock for a lot of OHKOs or even 2-hit KOs with some of my Pokemon. So I'm going to be trying to force a lot of switches with Jirachi. The speed is so that I outspeed Swellow after my Choice Scarf, and nothing more because I don't really need to outspeed anything else. And the rest I just put into HP to potentially live more hits. So the next Pokemon, Suicune, or Sonoda Umi. Also, for those of you that don't know, Umi means ocean in Japanese, so that's why I figured Suicune was perfect for Umi. But anyways, this is your typical Kurokune set. This thing is a monster. It walls Mega Scizor, which is like by far the best part about it. Choice Banded Azumarill can do 40 to 50% with a Play Rough, but beyond that, Azumarill doesn't 3-hit KO, or just barely 3-hit KOs, I think. Maybe, something like that. Or maybe 4-hit KOs, yes, that's what it is. My Suicune with Leftovers. And that's going to give me a ton of chances to throw out Scalds and potentially get a burn. Because Scald has a 30% chance to burn. So in the beginning of the game, I'm going to be throwing out a whole bunch of Scalds until things are weakened. And after that, I can start setting up Calm Minds. If you don't know how Kurokune works, it's I bring it in, super bulky Pokemon. He's either forced to switch or try and wear me down. I Calm Mind up until I need to rest. And after I rest, I Sleep Talk. And I can either get Rest, Calm Mind, or Scald. And 1 in 3 chance. Scald, after some Calm Minds, will do some damage. It'll get some burn, some passive damage, and in burning Pokemon will weaken the amount of damage they can do to me. Calm Mind will help me bulk up even more, and Leftovers helps with overall recovery. So that's kind of the mind game here. I need to make sure Cordelia is gone before I set up with this. Same goes for Tangrowth. Tangrowth can do a lot of damage with Leaf Storm, but also if it chooses to do so, it's going to drop its own special attack, and as I'm boosting up, I'll actually be able to take it on. I do need to watch out for Banded Azumarill, and Azumarill after being +6 after a Belly Drum. I think Suicune takes around 50 to 60% from an Aqua Jet, and I outspeed most Azumarills. Max Azumarill speed is 218, I'm at 206, so he probably won't be max speed, especially if he's running Aqua Jet. He'll invest in Adamant, and then by nature, he can't be 218 speed or faster than me, in which case I can potentially get off another Scald and hope for a burn, which could help. But yeah, this thing can put in a lot of work, especially late game. So my fourth Mon, we got Ailey ISA, my Mega Altaria. I was super skeptical about bringing this. I was looking at his team and I saw Mega Scizor, I saw Gunk Shot on Hoopa Unbound, if it's Scarf or even Life Orb, and I haven't boosted up yet. Azumarill with Play Rough. All these Pokemon that can do so much damage to it. Whimsicott can paralyze it, Chandelure can, damage it pretty heftily. Swellow outspeeds it, Aurorus, Regice, a lot of threats on his team. That being said, this is an interesting set. So I'm Dragon Dance, Return, Roost, and Fire Blast, and you'll notice that my nature is naughty. So I've invested 176 into attack so that at +1, I OHKO Azumarill after Stealth Rock, which is really helpful in case he tries to go for a Play Rough, or if he's +6, if he's plus 6 with Aqua Jet, I do at least 50%, which is meaningful because if he's used Belly Drum, after using Belly Drum, he loses 50% of his HP, and he's probably going to be running Citrus Berry, so he'll gain 25% back. So after Stealth Rock, he'll be at 62.5%, and an unboosted return will do at least 62.7%, and I'll outspeed him, and I live a plus 6 Aqua Jet, because that does around 65 to 75%, I believe. So after Stealth Rock, I can switch in and Mega Evolve, and then Oko with return if he Belly Drums up. So that's why those attack EVs are just like that. It's kind of a lot, but, you know, just believe me. Also, this Oko's Scrafty, it's kind of here for that. It does a ton of damage to Aurorus and Regice. Same goes for Fracture. Wartortle does decently against this. And this thing can just hit hard. If it gets to +1, it outspeeds most Pokemon on his team. Except for, this actually at +1 just barely outspeeds Swellow. So that's why it's got the specific speed EVs it does. Also, it has just some general bulk and defense, but special attack. I have 28 special attack EVs so that, well, Mega Scizzor's Bullet Punch can do up to 95% on Mega Altaria, but if I don't Mega Evolve, yes, my base defense is only 70 instead of 110, but Bullet Punch will only do 40 to 55%, I think, or that's at least what I remember off the top of my head, and I have just enough special attack investment so that my Fire Blast Oko's Mega Scizor after rocks, even if I don't Mega Evolve. So that's why that's there. I know, it's incredibly specific, but it will help me live, obviously, longer, and Roost to recover when I can. So that's Mega Altaria. And again, after +1, I do a ton of damage to a lot of his Pokemon. And especially because I'm going to be trying to get a lot of switches throughout the game for potentially a late game Mega Altaria sweep or a late game Suicune sweep. So the next Pokemon is a Pokemon I was super torn about. I'm between Hitmonlee and Ditto, really. So don't be surprised if you see that change. But I think I'm going to stick with Choice Scarf Hitmonlee. Yes, I know, 2 Choice Scarf Mons. I really do think I need the speed to beat Hoopa Unbound potentially. And you'll notice I have just enough speed to... I should have just enough speed to outspeed. Let me do this, sorry, real quick. There we go. I have just enough speed to outspeed Chandelure. So if he brings Scarf Chandelure, I can Oko that with Knockoff. And in general, having Knockoff to get rid of leftovers, do passive damage to just about anything. Whether it's a Toxic Orb for Swellow or the Citrus Berry on Azumarill would be huge, because that's like 25% lost or HP and that he won't be able to recover it back. Whimsicott's leftovers, Scrafty, maybe leftovers too. And this also does a ton of damage to Sigilyph, which is really helpful. I also have Poison Jab for a Whimsicott if that thing gets out of hand, and because my ability is Limber, he can't actually paralyze me with Stun Spore, and then I can Oko with Poison Jab. So that's kind of like a thing I have for that if necessary. Also, if I want to go on Tangrowth, Poison Jab won't lower my defense afterwards, and it does just slightly under the same amount of damage as Close Combat. So that's my answer to Tangrowth as well. And also, just in general, even after Rock Polish, I outspeed Aurorus and like Regice, and Close Combat murks those Pokemon. Close Combat does so much damage. It's obviously not as strong as High Jump Kick, but I didn't want to play around with misses, and because he has a Ghost-type Chandelure that he loves to bring, that brings into some mind games about switches and such, so I don't want to deal with that, especially when Hitmonlee is super frail. Bullet Punch from Mega Scizor does a ton of damage, so I do need to watch out for priority moves like Azumarill's Aqua Jet, especially +6, and Mega Scizzor's Bullet Punch. But yeah, this is to clean up and do damage and get rid of items, so again, to set up for a Suicune or a Mega Altaria sweep. The specific special attack? Why is this all messed up? This should be 252 in attack. Pokemon Showdown, please. But yeah, and then the rest leftovers just went into bulk HP to potentially live. I think I live a Bullet Punch after Stealth Rock from Mega Scizor, and I do around 50% damage back with Close Combat, which could be helpful at some point. Might help out with Jirachi living and having to flinch or something like that. And then lastly, Liepard, Nishikino Maki. I was really not sure about what to do with Galvantula. I was thinking I might run Ditto, Choice Scarf Ditto, and then just switch in on Galvantula and then set up Sticky Web in return. But then something has to take a Thunder Wave from Galvantula, or a Thunder, or a Bug Buzz, and I don't want to deal with that. So I came up with this, in my opinion, like genius plan to use Liepard to counter his Galvantula. If he brings Galvantula, he'll probably lead with it. Suicide lead set, which is Focus Sash, Bug Buzz, Thunder, Thunder Wave, and Sticky Web. And I will lead off with my Liepard. I'm modest and max special attack to do a ton of damage with Dark Pulse. And no matter what, turn 1, I'm going to go for Dark Pulse. Now I'm going to branch off here. If he uses Sticky Web on turn 1, I hit him with Dark Pulse, and that will do at least 60%, which is awesome. And after that, I can use Copycat, which uses the last used move, so I can kill him again. Oh, wait. Yeah, so I can kill him with Dark Pulse. So I go before him, in a nutshell. Also, if he leads off with Galvantula and goes for Bug Buzz, that's ideal, because then I can go for Dark Pulse and then Copycat his Bug Buzz, and I OHKO, and the combination of Dark Pulse plus Bug Buzz actually KOs his own Galvantula. So that would be ideal. The only problem is going to be if he goes for Thunder Wave, and then it involves some hacks. Also, if he goes for Sticky Web first, I can go for Dark Pulse, and then I can actually Encore him into Sticky Web, and that way I can Copycat his own Sticky Web, so we both have Sticky Web on our field, which would be better than, just me having Sticky Web on my field, obviously. And another thing is, when the first time I bring in Altaria, it'll be immune to Sticky Web. So if he has Sticky Web on his side of the field, and my Altaria comes in immune to Sticky Web, and I get a Dragon Dance up, I way outspeed everything on his team, which is awesome. Also, Encore, if he decides to Belly Drum or Swords Dance with Scizor, I can switch in on their boosting move and then Encore them into that and lock them into that, and then I can just start firing away Dark Pulses. Last case scenario, or worst case scenario, if I come in on something that is just sweeping, I can bring in my Liepard and go for Charm, which will be a priority attack that lowers the opponent's attack by 2 stages and would help something else to set up, or to at least live and kill whatever is sweeping my team. And I have just enough speed to outspeed Mega Scizor so that my Charm will go before his Bullet Punch if he tries to KO me with Bullet Punch. And the rest goes into HP for bulk. But yeah, this is going to be a really tough team to beat, I think. He's got a lot of threats, and Sticky Web makes my team really weak. So I'm going to have to play really well, play really smart. But it should be a really good game. So I hope you guys are looking forward to watching it just as much as I am. Oh, and before I head out, I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Nate, who I've been meaning to give a shout out to for the longest time, who designed the logo for the Chicago Muse. It looks absolutely stunning. So thank you so much, Nate. And be sure to give him a follow on Twitter, see everything he's got to offer. He's got a YouTube channel too, where he does some great stuff. So yeah, that's all for today. But until the battle, this has been Midnight Zero, and this mission is complete.